And then wait 10 minutes for it to stop shaking.
Hi everyone, Jake and Levon here from, I guess I should say my name first. Does it matter? The people already confuse the two of us as it is. Well, anyway, I'm Levon, Jake is here.
And I'm Jake.
Yeah. So what we're going to do here is disassemble a Shirogorov Hation. And if you guys haven't seen a Hation before, it's basically a combination of the Shirogorov Hati and the neon. So that basically just means it's a neon with the multi-row bearing system and a carbon fiber scale. I think everything else is the same. Jake, did you look at any of the stuff about this knife before we decided to do this, or no?
I'm about to look
At its inside.
at its innards. What better way to learn?
So this is a nice change of pace for you guys. You never see a visual side of the Knife Nuts podcast. And while Jake is actually doing this without trying to bump any of the tripod or anything, we'd like to thank Sevog818 for sending this particular knife in. We love you, Sevog. We'll return it to you in perfect condition. You know, we even cleaned out a little bit. I don't know when the last time it was disassembled was, right? Probably never. We'll see how the Shirogorov guys appreciate this sort of thing. They seemed to like it the last time when you took apart my Hati.
It did.
Yeah.
They reposted it.
They reposted it, you know. I have a feeling it's because it's all Armenians behind the scenes. Yeah. The Armenian connection is strong with them. Look at that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Multi-row bearing system.
The MRBS, it look good. It look good. You bump a lot of tripod.
Free the blade.
Yeah. The milling is really nice on the inside of it, too. Look at that. Very cool. Now, this knife is fairly small. If you guys have ever handled a Shirogorov Neon, you'll know that it's a small knife. What's the blade length on it, Jake? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't, 3.5-ish.
You think it's 3.5? I think it's
3.
less. 3 1/4, maybe.
3 1/4.
Yeah, I'm about a 3 1/4 inch blade. Very lightweight. You can see that the multi-row bearing system is employed here, and they mill out the titanium side here with these really aesthetically pleasing pockets. It's pretty similar to how the Hati is built, right?
Very.
Very cool. Shout out to Recon 1 too. Really great customer service for getting your Shirogorovs. Now, I don't know what these retail at, but a regular neon is around I think 600 and something. I think this falls in the same price category. But they are kind of hard to come by. It's sort of a rarity in the Shirogorov lineup, the Hation. I've heard people pronounce it as Haitian, which is not correct. Yeah. Very nice.
And there's your hidden hardware for your pocket clip, which is also in Shirogorov fashion.
I actually think the hidden hardware on the pocket clip is almost like a sign of quality these days. I feel like more manufacturers and custom makers really need to employ the hidden hardware system for their pocket clip.
You know, there's also some pathway for lube to kind of exist in here.
A lube channel, would you say?
Yes. Let's have a look at the pivot.
A lube channel?
Pivot is pretty standard.
Now, what did you use to disassemble this tool-wise, Jake?
So, for the pivot, which is, of course, Shirogorov in nature, I used Levon's. Now, who makes this one?
I don't freaking know. It doesn't matter anymore.
Well, I just protect the tips on things like this with a little bit of tape because there's just so much room on a pivot like this to scratch either the bottom or the the faces of that channel. So,
So you
little
just
tape
put a
on
little
there.
tape on the tip of the
Tape
of
with
the
the
bit.
tip.
Tape on the tip of the bit.
And then same with this smaller guy. A little bit of tape on there. No problem.
What are your thoughts on the construction of this thing?
It's very similar to your dark cherry. Very nicely done. At first I thought that this was a press fit on this stop pin, but it's actually just just very properly done with absolutely no play, and makes for a nice clean disassembly and reassembly.
Now, on those bearings, are they free floating or are they
Let me see if they.
nested in the washers?
Let's find out.
Oh God. Oh, that's just terrifying.
So we're gonna have to get in there with.
With what?
I use wood for this, so
Wood?
Give me a sec.
Yeah, I just got some wood
Oh,
waiting around
go
for
into,
you, Jake.
Into Jake's
Of course, when Jake comes here, he packs like he's
TKI
camping.
bag, yeah.
While Jake's doing that, in case you guys are wondering about the Knife Nuts patch and sticker there, those are all benefits to supporting our Patreon, which we just launched the other day, which we have a decent number of new patrons, and I want to say thank you to everybody who supported us.
Thank you guys so very much.
And this allows us to do more stuff like this. We hope to do a lot more visual content for you guys too. So this is part one of some of the new stuff that you guys will see us do. So they are nested in there.
Nested, I don't think would be the right word, but captured.
Captured, I'm sorry, yes.
And whether they're captured by grease or captured by design.
By witchcraft.
They do appear.
Just don't lose any of Sevog's
Yeah,
bearings. That would be gnarly.
That's why we got the whole setup here the way we do. I'm gonna have to sharpen the end of this stick for me if you've got a knife.
I do.
And we will get to the bottom of that.
I'll use my mini knife.
Intuition says that these might pop out because I don't see any sort of
pop them out if you don't.
rolling on the edges that you would normally see on a captured bearing system.
In case you guys are wondering, I actually am sharpening this stick off camera. Which is ridiculous.
And in case you're wondering why my fingers look the way they do, it's because of this kind of stuff. And, cutting my nails too short. And
What?
I've got like this
Jake just
new
can't help
skin.
poking into things. Here you go.
Yeah, this new skin turned yellow on me. It looks jaundicey.
Is the new skin
So
just
look at
super
that.
glue packaged as a
It
first aid
says it has antibiotic properties. So these are absolutely not captured in any way, other than grease.
Gotcha.
So a little JSYK.
If you are actually going to attempt to disassemble your Shirogorov,
We're gonna go ahead and
RBS,
say we don't recommend.
we don't
that.
recommend any of this at all.
And
At all.
while we're at it, maybe a short and sweet reassembly
Oh, absolutely.
with little to no planning and no camera trickery.
I will say that the action on this knife was quite beautiful.
It was nice. It felt like it could use a Jake tune. But then again,
what specifically
what doesn't?
doesn't need a
Nothing specifically. That's just my way of
Jake is very particular about
promoting my own knife tunes.
I've never handed Jake a knife where he said, "Wow, that's just perfect. I don't need to do anything to it." Whether it's a drop of lube on the detent track or a full disassembly and reassembly, there's never been a knife that Jake hasn't felt needed some sort of improvement. And to his credit, they usually come out better after he messes with them. So despite his Rain Man-like obsessive compulsiveness, they do come out pretty damn good after he's fiddled with them. As such.
Fiddlin' and diddlin'. All right. So that guy is ready. Let's go ahead and there are a few parts of a knife that I can't reassemble without cleaning and lubing. The pivot is one, and especially not just the face of the pivot, which arguably is the most important part, obviously, but also any kind of grease or lube or anything that is on this lip here is going to ultimately end up inside the pivot in the threads and null and void your attempts at thread locker. Blue, red, green, yellow, orange, doesn't matter. If there's grease in there, your thread locker is not going to work. So,
and that's the
little
number
alcohol,
one contributor to like your pivot just becoming loose, right?
Absolutely, yeah. If you have a pivot that just keeps backing out, 9 times out of 10, that's why. So this is going to be a do as I say, not as I do, because I don't have my full kit with me. So normally what I would do is soak that in either an acetone if I have it, or just rubbing alcohol.
Just to clean it out completely.
Just to clean it out, yeah. Use a Q-tip and get anything sticky or gunky or greasy out of there. And then the same is true on the other side. These threads, I mean, you can kind of tell by looking at them, any sort of darkness you see is most likely some old grease. And let's see, with a nice, fresh, clean part of the Q-tip, if I can show any of that. There you go. You can see the streaks. So that'll do the same thing with your thread locker. Just kind of, the thread locker is not resting metal, metal on metal, or attaching metal to metal or whatever. It's just sitting on top of the grease, not doing anything. So we will remedy that off camera. For now, we're going to finish this reassembly ever so carefully. I did not remove any of the lube that was already inside of the pivot of the blade, so I'm just going to leave that for purposes of this video. And this is where you take the tension off of the lock bar with this finger so that the blade can slide down.
Folding knife disassembly 101 right here.
Yeah. And depending on the knife, when you let go, depending on the precision there, if there's enough slop there, this will pop right back up. And in some cases, the whole blade will actually be able to leave that pivot. If the tolerances are really tight around the pivot, you'll see that it actually just locks in place. As soon as the lock bar, the detent, goes to offset this thing, it's kind of like suction cups itself.
So that's part of the sign of a good.
I had a little lighting change there.
Yeah,
that gives you a little idea of the inner workings. Make sure that our washer is still there. You can actually see. Oh, thank you for blowing me out.
Sorry, buddy. Just want to give you
kick
some
that
more.
thing down a notch. My God.
Sorry. I'm using the world's brightest flashlight to.
He's literally using a DX80.
Yes, it's 32,000 lumens. Don't read all the bullshit you guys hear about Olight having a really powerful flashlight. They're just very well advertised. Okay. Not that Olight's bad company. It's just like, 24,000 lumens. This is 32,000.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You can see the 2 tracks on there from the multi-row bearing system. And again, if this was the sort of thing where we were having trouble with this knife, or it was really old and we wanted to refresh it, this is what people refer to when they say they're going to flip the washers and get rid of that track. We are not going to get rid of that track because this knife is still in its prime. No need for any knife plastic surgery or anything in here. And
you should bump the camera more often. I think
that's definitely going to be something to consider for the future.
Yeah. You can tell we do this all the time, right?
This, again, assuming I had thoroughly cleaned the threads, this is the part where I would add thread locker, or if I was using Vibratite, like a VC3, I would have done that 5 or 10 minutes ago, so it had a chance to set up just a little bit.
Sounds boring as shit.
It is, but if you want your knives to work properly,
What did you just do?
you gotta get bored sometimes. I'm dealing with your slippery ass Scotch tape since you don't have masking tape.
Look,
Let it be known that Lavon does not
I use tape
keep
for
masking
packing.
tape
I don't have any.
in his domicile.
That's true. It's my fault.
There we go. And all right, the final rule that I will impart before leaving is finish no hardware.
What?
Don't tighten any hardware to its max tightness while you're assembling.
I mean, it sounds like common sense, but I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people do the opposite. They just torque everything down as
Right. That is not what we
quickly
wanna
as they
do.
can get it in there.
It's not good for anyone. Okay, let's see if I can.
If you guys would like to see more stuff like this on our YouTube channel, on Instagram, with the Knife Nuts in general, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. You know, do the usual stuff like subscribe.
Like, comment, and
Like,
share.
comment, subscribe. Or as our friend the Advanced Knife Bro would say, baton that like button.
Baton that like button.
And if you have the means, go check out our Patreon. We need the money, basically, to bring you better content. And we're offering some pretty cool goodies. Would you say, Jake?
I would say that of the goodies we're allowed to talk about right now,
Oh, yeah.
we're offering some very cool goodies. The ones we're not allowed to talk about yet will make it well worth your while.
That's true. He's already said too much.
All right, I'm going to give this a quick preliminary feel and say it's close enough to do this. Oh, would you look at that?
It has that Shiro drop, doesn't it? Very smooth.
Everything about
Or
this
what
knife is
what
smooth.
our lives have decided is the what smooth means.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's at that point where the bearings are... If you can feel the bearings doing like a little dip and roll inside your pivot, they are too tight. So you want to be able to feel that they're rolling but not feel any kind of stop and go. And I'm going to call this knife complete.
Wow.
That's it.
Came out great. Again, thank you, Sevog818 on Instagram. We really appreciate you sending this unique knife out to us for a disassembly. Go ahead and follow us. You can follow me at Knife Nuts Podcast on Instagram, and Knife Nuts Jake is here on Instagram as well.
And baton that like button.
Oh, God. Yeah. The Advanced Knife Bro is probably going to sue us now. I hope you're happy.